Peace and bliss, peace and bliss, peace and bliss. I have to tell you this, peace and bliss tribe in this beautiful, beautiful present moment. Beautiful right now. How are we doing, beautiful tribe? I hope we are feeling excellent. I hope we are in our space of bliss. I hope we are feeling relaxed, inspired, empowered, desiring unconditional love on this present day. Please say hello as you guys are coming in. So, I'm not going to be on here very long. And I hope the music is not too loud either. But I wanted to talk about the power of oppression. And why did I want to talk about this? I wanted to talk about this because we're entering into a space where our collective consciousness as a planet is being raised to where we are beginning to see a bigger picture of what's been going on. And what's really happening is that we are transitioning into a space of total acceptance, because we realize that everything, everyone, every system is all a reflection of us. And so we began to remove certain paradigms, certain patterns of judgment within certain systems. And so as we are doing this, I believe it's time that we understand and we uncover the beauty and what a lot of people refer to as oppression. Because there's beauty in oppression, just like there's shadow and there's dark and there's pain in oppression. And they both work to serve us, and that's what we're going to dive into. And so I was sitting back and I was thinking, I'm at this Airbnb, and this the guy who I'm staying with, we were having a conversation, and we were talking about, just the current state of our country and really our planet. And we were talking about things like the Illuminati and the secret organizations that people believe oppress us, and the people who manipulate or orchestrate these systems of control, or, as we say, oppression. And so in that, I got to thinking, because I myself am an individual from a very, very high dimension. And it enables me to see things in a very unique perspective. And I oftentimes just try to communicate it as in a language of parenting, because at the end of the day, that's all our relationship is with our oppressors. It's this interchanging role of student, teacher, child, parent. On the shadow side, it becomes master, slave. In the middle, you have boss, and worker. And so we see that, on all levels, we have oppression as a state of control. And so we look at, why is that valuable? Like, when is it valuable to have states of control? And so I got to thinking about, parenting, myself being a parent and being connected to a lot of parents out there. Shout out to all my parents out there. So many parents are viewed as the oppressor by their children. So many kids hate some of the things that their parents have in place that create a system which enable control to create security. And, you know, each parent does that differently. And so we have some parents that put rules in place. Certain parents have curfews in place. You know, certain parents have to have certain chores in place. You know, for me growing up, I had to do my chores before I was able to go out and play. You know, if, you know, at some points I looked at myself as being oppressed, especially when I couldn't go out and play. I felt like I was a slave and I had to just do what this person told me, or I literally got beat. So do we see how interchangeable the parent role is with the slave, with master role, based on the level of consciousness that the person who is experiencing the role as the oppressor, the way that they view it. You know, parents are oftentimes Lucifer to their kids. You know, they're oftentimes the police to their kids. And so, from the parent standpoint, we find the value or the power of oppression. Because although from one perspective it may be viewed as oppression, to the lesser experienced, the lesser aware, the lesser aged, who has actually gone out and experienced parts of the world that that child may not have been exposed to. So from that space, the parent has a choice. Do they choose to keep these systems that the child is viewing as oppression in place, knowing that it is protecting? Or does it not like being called the oppressor, so that it removes those systems and allows the child to no longer view it as the oppressor, but opening it up to this space of, you know, possible harm? And so as a parent, I'll tell you what ends up happening is we become okay being seen as the oppressor. We're like, okay, I don't mind if you look at me as the police, or as evil, or as someone who hates you, because I love you unconditionally. And I know you may not see that right now, but that is my intention, because you are my child and I love you, and we're all in this together. No matter what, you're a human being growing up. I'm a human being learning how to be a kid again. We work together, you know. And so I say all that to say, you know, we can see the neutrality in oppression. And I believe one of the most powerful things about the act of oppression is that it creates a cataclysmic workout almost for the oppressed. They have to learn how to survive within limited and minimal conditions because they're being oppressed. So they gain a certain type of mental strength, and a certain type of toughness, and a certain type of resilience, and a certain type of finesse when it comes to communication, when it comes to getting things done, because they're having to work within minimal guidelines and systems of oppression. And so when they're finally broken out of that oppression, when they finally release themselves from that oppression, they're so much stronger. They're so much more equipped for the world that they're now in. And then we see oppression serving a purpose. We see oppression being a bow that was designed to pull us back so that we can shoot forward. And then we see things like oppression being no different than, say, a workout where we intentionally oppress our muscles so that our muscles then resist, which then creates strength. so that's my message, is remember that all of this is a reflection of us. So it serves no purpose to judge anything outside of unconditional love and realizing that everything is us. And so we just seek to understand the connection that we have with these systems. And we begin to see how we can support these systems instead of looking to tear down these systems. Because anytime you have an intention to tear down a system, that system is going to fight back. Because that's what any system does. That's what you would do if someone was trying to tear you down, right? And I believe that's what the message of Christ was showing us. He was showing us that when you are seen as a threat to the darkness consumes the light. But the light is still able to live through the etheric space. The spirit of that light is able to remain. And so now we're entering into the next phase of that, which is integration, which is almost like Christ returning. And when he's returning, he says, you know what? I've got this message, but I don't want to have to sacrifice myself again to have to communicate this message. So instead of me blasting my light to the world and posing a threat to the systems, I'm going to allow myself to actually create my ego container, to create this vessel that is able to go into those spaces with my light traveling inside of it, so that the vessel itself is dark energy, while the light inside of it fuels it, creating this integrated light body. And so we're able to walk with these light bodies, and we're able to not only shed our light in dark spaces without our light being shattered, but we're able to gain an understanding because we're able to gain relationship with these entities, systems, however you want to call them. I can say for myself, I had a very, very harsh outlook on business owners before I became a business owner. When my business owner cut my hours, I would be upset. I would hate that. I wouldn't like that business owner. But when I became a business owner and I saw, the choices that a business owner has, where it's between cutting your hours versus, firing you because you can't afford to pay you anymore, I began to gain a little bit more clarity on, people are just doing the best they can, just like we're just doing the best that we can. And so I think that if we can always remember that, then there's no one that we can't share connection with. There's no one that we can't understand. There's no one that we have to look at as outside of ourselves. Even the Trumps of the Trumps, they are us. They're still us. So it's like once you accept that they're still us, we have to just understand how and why they're us. Peace and bliss. I love you guys. Share this video out. Comment, a like. Definitely want to hear your thoughts. Love you guys. Peace.